Retired U.S. Army Command Sergeant Major J.W. Childers spoke to service members and guests of the South Carolina National Guard at the Adjutant General's Building in Columbia, South Carolina, August 6, 2015. Childers joined the Army as soon as he was eligible and was first sergeant when he landed on Omaha Beach on D-Day, and survived being surrounded by the German Army in Bastogne at Battle of the Bulge. Childers went on to serve as Command Sergeant Major in the Korean War and as the Command Sergeant Major for the 3rd Brigade, 82nd Airborne Division in Vietnam. His stories will inspire you and provide great lessons on leadership, resiliency, and love of country.
This guy's incredible, y'all. He just turned 95 about 2 weeks ago. And so we're going to mic him up, and Larry Carlson's going to talk to him and ask him questions. And then hopefully at the end, maybe we can get y'all to ask him some questions. But he's been in the Korean War, and also he was a Command Sergeant Major in the 82nd Airborne during Vietnam. His bio, y'all, is incredible. And I don't want to take any of his thunder, and he is just as humble as he can be. And that's why we're going to have Larry up here kind of asking him questions. Larry's known him since the 70s and has heard a lot of these stories and kind of drag them out of here. One thing I'd ask each one of you to do is when you're listening to this, think about the small things that he says that you can take back and just teach you to maybe be a better leader. Because guys, when I listen to him, and I was listening to him upstairs about an hour this morning, everything he says is stuff you can relate to what you do here today. You know, the times he talks about, I don't know if he said he didn't come to bring it up in front of a bunch of general officers. The times when general officers have said something to him and he spoke up. There are times that he kind of felt bad about speaking, and he said, I don't want to talk bad about an officer. And I said, man, you talk bad about whoever you want to. But guys, he's incredible, and I'm going to tell you, he probably won't bring it up, but he survived 33 years in the Army. Didn't drink, didn't smoke. And I asked him if he ever cussed, and he said he wasn't going to tell me. So, very religious man. And he had convictions, but he made it through a whole career like that. And so he's a great example to all of us. But Sergeant Major, they out there, everybody ready?
Well, I'm not telling that 95-year-old man what to do.
Hey guys, make sure your phones are on vibrate. And room attention. Oh! Keep it safe, keep it safe. Go ahead and hand it over. I think they're lighting him up right now. Sir, do you have anything to say to everybody in here today? I think they're going to mic him up outside.
I tell you, what we're getting ready to see is a true national treasure, and it's a great opportunity to learn from somebody's kind of been there, done that the hard way. So it's just good to have that stuff.
JW, these are folks who came to listen to me today, and we're going to get you mic'd up. And,
a lot of rank here.
A lot of interest.
Leader's support right here today that is needed. If you get those things working, we'll, I'm going to give it. Larry,
I signed up for it. I just have to make sure all women are doing
It's a privilege for us to be here today, and for me to be here with JW. I was the Air Guard command chief for the state. So retired, and I got put in this position as the director of the National Guard Association. So it's been right. And it's been a great job for me. And I've got to do things I never dreamed that I was doing, and you know, getting to bring that in here for you guys, it would never happen if I was in this job. And so thank you for supporting me there. So JW is a cool guy. He goes a long ways back. And someone asked me why did JW and I have become such good friends. You know, I really don't know. But we started together. We had some similar things. He picked cotton when he was a kid. I picked cotton when I was a kid. He joined the Army when he was young. So did I. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to JW. JW, you want to kind of introduce yourself?
Do I stand up?
Yes. You sit down, sit down.
You sure now? Well, I'm going to sit down. I'm not a spring chicken, you know that. It's a pleasure to be here, to see all Army people.
We've got some air guys to sneak this in the back row, so.
We call it.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Ready to go?
Yes, if you would, just start off the story. Go ahead.
On July the 22nd, 1920, my mother was picking cotton in the cotton field. She hollered over around about 11:45 to my dad and said, "Albert, I think the baby is coming." He got her in the wagon. We didn't have cars in those days. And took off to the house. And 12:17, a boy weighed 9 pounds and 7 ounces. Before me. That's me. So that starts y'all. I go back a few years. Back in those days, things was not as cool as they are now. My daddy would take his cotton that we picked, take it to the gin it, set it over to the side, and wait for a good price. He decided one day that the price was right. He went up, I think he had about 7 bales of cotton. He sold the cotton, put the money in the bank. 3 days later, the bank went busted. That happened to everybody. And you didn't have the security that you have now. Of course, this upset everything. Mama gave birth to 9 boys and 3 girls. Not a single one I live today but me. I'm the lucky one. But anyway, my dad had a hard time coping with this. And I'm told this by my mother that he began to drink pretty heavy. He died at the age of 47. My mother lived to be 91 and a half years old. And then, as I said here, I'm 95. But anyway, he died at 79. We lost our farm. My mother had to make some real serious decisions. And that was what we were going to do. We had 60 days to get off the land in here and buy. There was 3 children under me, 2 boys and a girl, younger than I. So my mother decided that she would keep the 3 young and send me to Jackson to live with my brother. Jackson, South Carolina. That was the best thing that ever happened to me. One of the best things. I stayed there, Christmas team, played football. I wasn't much of a football player because football back in those days was a lot different than it is now. I was a fullback. The ball was snapped direct to the fullback all the time. And the whole play that those other 3 up there would block. If they didn't, you know what happened. Another thing too, if you went in the first quarter and you came out, you couldn't go back in for the second quarter. Different thing. But anyway, I was considered to be a good baseball player. So Fort Bragg, North Carolina sent their team down to Gaffney to play us 2 exhibition games. I had a good first game. I had a triple and double, and I didn't make any errors. Third base is not the easiest position to play. You have 2 choices, but they're so fast you don't have to worry about having a second. And so I had a good first inning. And we were eating lunch. The manager came by and said, "Son," I was 16 years old. He says, "You handle yourself pretty good around third base. Have you ever thought about coming in the Army?" I said, "No, sir." He said, "Well, we play baseball every day." I got that message. I like that. But he says, "How old are you?" I said, 16. He said, "You can't touch." So I went back playing with the Gaffney Big Mill. Every mill in Gaffney had a great baseball team. That's back years ago. My brother gets a letter from the manager of the team. He says, "If you can get a politician who will sign a statement that this man is not a troublemaker, and, all that," he said, "we can take him at 16 and a half. And my brother said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to go." And so that started me out. I went to Charlotte. They signed me up when I was 16 and a half, and then sent me back to Gaffney to stay there until they had another training center. They sent me to Panama for my training. That was an education to me. But I had to go through it, and I went in. I went in to be a good soldier, not a hero or anything like that. I wanted to be a good soldier. When I left Panama and moved back to Fort Cotton, New York on Long Island, I was selected as one of the honor guards to represent the 1938 World's Fair that was on Long Island at that time. Some of you nod your heads, you're as old as I am. But anyway, I stayed there 5 months. And they called me back to my outfit. That's when I started going to school. My platoon sergeant said, "You've got to learn what the way the Army gets this done." So I went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, Fort Bliss, Texas, Lackland Air Force Base. He said, "What are you doing in the Air Force?" I didn't know either. But they would flash pictures up on the screen of planes. And I had to tell them, "They're in a boat." I was in anti-aircraft, that's why that was like that. So I went to school, and finally got back to the outfit. I noticed that I began to move up the channel. I got promoted a couple of times. I want to stop there and tell you, I never had so much money in my life when I come back and I was promoted to a sergeant. My first pay in the Army was $17.50. But that was a lot of money at that time. $17.50 wouldn't even get you through that door. But that's the way it was. But anyway, it was on early part of 1940. I got orders to move to Fort Eustis, Virginia. I was pretty much like the idea of going south because I'm a southern boy from down here. But anyway, I started training and we get 250 men every 8 weeks. And that's not a lot of time to have 8 weeks to do what we had to do. First, you've got to go to the farm range. You've got to qualify. You've got to qualify. You've got to go through the gas chamber. You've got to know what you're going to say when you take that gas mask off. You know what I mean? If you get stuck there and you don't know your serial number, you're in trouble. But you have to go through it. You have to have 3 marches. 2 of them you can't just walk and make it. You got to run some because you're over time schedule. So anyway, 8 weeks is not a lot of time. Maybe teach them how to salute, right face, left face, and know what rank you're carrying. And then one day, we got called up to the colonel's office. Later, he knows general. At that time, he was a colonel. He says, your next group that you get in will not be shipped out. It will be what you train for the war. I was not ready for that. I had to do that. I'm still there. I will be. But anyway, I got 250 men. They say you take 225 with you. So I had 25 to play. We started our training. That's when I made the first sergeant. I really didn't want to make it. I didn't want to be a first sergeant. Really, I like working on them UN-10 aircraft guns that we had. But you know, the things change. So anyway, I had been dating a girl in York, the only girl I ever dated in my life. And we were pretty close to getting married. So I went down to see her. And this is the way I did it. I'm not saying it's the best way to do it. But I got away with it. I said, her name was Helen. I said, Helen, I said, I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to understand. Do you love me? She said, yes. I said, enough to marry me? She said, yes. I said, would you? She said, yes. So I took that. So I go back. I put my application. You had to get permission to get married those days. I put my application into this young captain that just come. So I didn't know too much about it, to be honest with you. Put my application in. He called me in the office and he says, Sergeant, I'm going to have to disapprove of your application to get married. Now, the devil got into my heart. And I'll tell you what I wanted to do. I wanted to reach across that desk and get me a handful of captains. But I didn't get married. He says, they need you here. That woman don't need you right now. That didn't make me happy. But anyway, that was in June, first part of July. August, let's see, it was August or September. September the 4th, he calls me in the office. He says, I'll approve your application to get married. I says, when? He says, now. I said, when can I go? He said, now. I said, goodbye. So I took off for York, South Carolina. I got married. I'm glad. I'm really serious now. I'm really glad I didn't make that terrible mistake. But that, you know, a young fella, and start messing around with his daughter, I mean, with his, you know, his darling, you messing around with the wrong person. So then I go back and I start, before I went back, I had 5 days. The captain was good enough to say, I'll start your leave on Monday. This was Friday. So I went, we got married. Had to get married on Saturday because there's not a creature around that could do it. And I had to get married and then go in. Went up to Lake Lure, North Carolina. Rented us nice cabin, all hours and hot. The second day we were there, knock on the door. I got out of bed to go because it was early. And outside was 2 officers. He says, are you military? I says, yeah. He says, you got orders to report back to your commander immediately. And you have transportation. I said, yeah, I have a car. He said, sign here. So I signed. What happened was, my unit was called out to put the guns around Portsmouth, all those places around there. And we didn't have any action, but we got called back in. So I had to go back. So I never did get my days given back to me for my honeymoon. So I lost out there. Army was good, man. I loved Army. I've talked to him a good bit. We sort of on the same sheet of music. I tried to be the kind of sergeant that my platoon sergeant was. That took a lot of time with me. But I also was like what you would say, I meant business. And for that reason, I was easy. I had to pick up two sergeants, make my 4 that I had, and we got orders to start training for the war. Those 2 came in. Up to that time, it was hard for me to get a platoon sergeant to come to my company, and I'll tell you why. I'm opposed to drinking. I never drank in my life. I never smoked. I don't believe in drinking. I'm not saying you don't have to. I'm just saying what I believe. So, it helped me to get through some things, and yet knowing that these men are my men. And I tried to take care of it. But I was no sissy either. You got, when you ask a question, you got to answer. I'll give you a good example of that. I was sitting at my desk one day. This guy come in. He said, I want to see the captain. I said, what do you want to see the captain for? He said, well, it's Friday. I said, well, you ain't going to see the captain. So he says, well, I said, tell me maybe I can help you save the captain time. He says, I'm a conscious objector. I said, what's that? He says, I'm a conscious objector. I said, what is that? He says, I don't believe in killing people. I said, neither do I. Am I a conscious objector? He said, I don't think so. I said, well, let me tell you something. You see that screen building? You got a choice. You can go out on your own, or I'm going to throw you right out that door. So I got by that was pretty good. But I've had a good time. And I look back, I lost my wife 3 years ago. We were married 70 years. I said 70, not 7. We have a policy. And I don't mind telling you. I know you're military and you don't know probably this has nothing to do with you. We have a policy that works. And that's this. If we disagreed on something, when we went to bed, down on our knees, we settled, or we wouldn't climb up in that bed. And it worked. Never had to lay a hand on my wife. I wouldn't have done it anyway. So you see, sometimes it takes you a little in a direction that you have to give in. So we had a good marriage for 70 years. Good Lord Trucker, he has a right. I don't question what he does. He gave me and he took it. I know where she's at, and I'm going to show her. You got any questions?
The idea is to look at it here, there's a lot of leaders in here, from the enlisted side and the officer side. So I love for you to tell me and talk about the leadership. What's the leader, the mission, the people? Kind of share with these guys how you see that.
Well, you had
before you go there, I want everybody to get the benefit of understanding where you come from. I mean, you've been in 3 wars. And we had me cover that part. I mean, just briefly, tell them about your experience in the 3 wars, kind of what you did, and then come back and talk about the leadership. We've got time to do that, because I'd like to establish the background.
So if you would, J.W., start off when you said you guys practiced going, like you're going to hit the Omaha Beach, and the day you did go. And one of the cool things that I really have never understood, you were a first sergeant when that happened. A 22-year-old first sergeant in the beaches out there. So start right there.
well, when we got orders to move out, we had finished our training, and we were in New York. So we got on the ship and headed for. We didn't know where we were going. I didn't. And we landed in England. And I never was able to go to England without it being raining every day. Every day. Just raining every day. We landed there at I wish I could tell you exactly where we put our people in and start training. Every morning we go down and get on our LSTs and LACs and go out and come back. We did that for months to get going. And the day that we actually went, it was cloudy, raining. They said, never go nowhere today. We went. Off the English Channel, that wasn't exactly a smooth route. I landed with the 29th Infantry Division. somewhere between the first, I was not in the first, they said it was between the second and the third. So they had to let us out early. Most of them have been on LCIs, LCTs. If you have, don't try to swim water up above your LCI at times, because you're going to have a hard time swimming. We have a hard time getting out and getting on the beach. We somewhere between 200 and 300 yards further down Omaha Beach. So we came in. Chaos. That's what it was, chaos. You can't see everything, you don't know everything, and you don't want everything. But it's tough. I lost men. Where are they? I don't know. It was tough to get on the beach at Omaha. Because up above us, we had battleships galore, firing these big, heavy things. And the average person would never notice this, but even that big battleship has a tendency of coming just a little bit out of water. It's got to come back down. And when it comes back down, big wave coming down English Channel. English Channel is the worst place I've ever been to try to swim. You did more, you did better if you just floated and hope that you land where you're supposed to. So you can understand it wasn't organized. But we got on the beach. Our job was to keep those Ju-88s off of the infantry. Well, I had 8 half-tracks that had 4 50 caliber machine guns on the turret. I'm sure you all know that 4 50 caliber machine gun, you fire a lot of fire. And if you got 8, you're going to really tear things up. We never did. I never did have them all together anyway. But anyway, that's what we had. We stayed there for a few days, trying to find out where our men were. And if you ever been to I guess you'd say France, or anyway for the camp, the place where we came in, Omaha Beach. Up above there is a big graveyard. Sometime I wonder if I had enough of time, I'd like to go through and see the names and see if some of my men that I lost are there. I don't know. I took my wife over there one time. We were standing out there and she looked at me and she said, "Honey, do you see anything that looks familiar to you?" I said, "Yeah, water." Water. That's all we got. So after a while we pulled out and our mission was changed. Instead of worrying about the flight, because the Air Force took care of that pretty good, they put us out with the infantry because we had these places where the Germans would hide in, you couldn't see them, you know. So they'd take our tracks and put them up there, and put some ammunition in there. The first one I went up to, after they fired, I got sick in my stomach. I was seeing dead Germans. Because they were in that bush, what do you call it? Yes. And they were sick in my stomach. But after that, I just always got used to it. Did I cover your part?
Then you guys moved to the battle.
The general's part,
Hey,
I'm
excuse me.
sorry.
Hey, Larry, get him to go over St. Lo. Is a little lesson he learned at St. Lo. Omaha Beach.
Then you go to the Battle of the Bulge.
Now it's going.
Well, JW, tell them about what happened when you went to St. Lo. When y'all went down and cleared St. Lo, what the captain told you to do.
Oh, yeah. That's, you mean when we were with the 101st?
Yeah, when they were going to drop the marker for you.
About the foxhole, the coach I was dealing with foxholes. Remember, y'all got an order, don't dig any foxhole, they were going to drop a marker
yeah.
party.
Well, when we pulled into St. Lo, our understanding was don't dig a foxhole. We're going to move out early in the morning. Well, my understanding was they were going to put a plane, come over and drop a flag. Marker, I guess you call it. And then the bombers was coming. Well, everything worked fine, except one thing. When they dropped that marker didn't come down like this. That marker came down this way. My whole outfit was out. So everybody jumped. I jumped under a Jeep. I didn't get hurt. We had people hurt. And when I learned something then, and it's going to take more in the general to tell me I'm not going to be the foxhole. All right, sir?
Yes, sir.
Just for essay here, JW said 80,000 people died at the Battle of Bulge, and I said, maybe he got his numbers mixed up, so I go home and look
No,
at
it's 80,000.
It's 80,000. So JW landed on Omaha Beach, you know, and I like to watch the movie The Safest Crime Run. I probably watched it 100 times. He was there, then he moves to the Battle of the Bulge, that goes on, and then he went into the Korean War as a first sergeant still, right?
I was still the first sergeant in Korea.
And then JW gets picked, he's sent to Vietnam, and I want you to tell everybody during that time, kind of the guy you replaced wasn't, his moral standards and ethics weren't too high, and you were picked to be the command sergeant major in Vietnam.
Well, I had just finished my vessel training at Fort Bliss, Texas. And 29, and I was the 30th, we had got orders for Germany to go over and help install this missile around what's it on the Wiesbaden Air Base. Well, we got over there and we didn't have too much to do for a few days, so we thought we would go over to Wiesbaden Air Base and look around. While I was over there, they had a baseball game. I can tell you. So I was sitting up in the stands there, and I looked out. Man, that guy can play third base. And I said it loud enough, the guy next to me, he says, have you ever played third base? I said, yes. He said, well, good. Next thing I know, I was called in to the Wiesbaden Air Flyers to try out for the baseball team. Well, we got our message in, and while I was there, they came out with a new brand. Remember, I was at E7 for 17 and a half years.
Which was first sergeant at that time. At that time, E7 was the highest you could go as an enlisted guy, and he was the first sergeant at 22 years old.
So what happened is you could take a test for E8, or you could take a test for E8 and E9. That's what they were coming out with. Well, I'm playing baseball for the air base. I slid into third and I got a little injury in my back, with all this happened. I was in the hospital, so my colonel came to see me and says, I got some documents here for you to look at. If you want to take the test and pass it, you go up for rank. Well, I said, okay, fine. So he gave me the document. If you had any training at all with me, it was a joke. So when we turned in our request, I said, I'll put it in for E8 and 9. If I can't pass it for 8, I ain't going to pass it for 9. So I'll put in. So we went to 7th Army headquarters, General Abrams. He's a trucker. He was in this theater. He come out on the stage and said, well, I guess you know why you're here. Sure we know what you're here. He says, look, I'm not going to wish you luck. Says, luck is not going to have anything to do with it. Boy, I was wondering what I got myself into. But anyway, they passed out the sheet. We took the case. I have to be honest with you. It was a joke. If you had any training with the man, you were in business. Well, they took us out on the playing field. Had a colonel out there in Charlotte. Had 2 MP companies. The colonel would walk up to the man that was going to be checked out at that time, and he'd whisper something like, prepare your unit for calisthenics. And if you're going up to E7, E8, you ought to know what to do. And some of them couldn't do it. So naturally they would go. After that, they took us in before the board. General, I've never seen so many generals on one board in my life. And they were in there. They said, have a seat. Well, I didn't know if I wanted to have a seat or not. But I had it. Well, they had an ashtray there. They said, you can smoke if you have it. That would absolutely be done. Because I didn't smoke anymore. Then they'd start asking questions. Well, like I say, the president is right here. So John Doe down here would ask the question. I was taught always look to the man who's asking the questions. But then when you finish with him, you answer the senator here in the Senate. That's the way I was taught years ago. Well, I got through. I stood up, got ready to leave, and this one guy that was pretty close to us, and he says, tell me, Sergeant, says, what makes you think you ought to be above these other guys? Well, friend, when you go before a promotion board, you're going up there to sell yourself. That's exactly what you're doing. And if you don't look at it like that, you may not make it. So I said, well, I'm the best, man. I'm the best. I said something there I wasn't supposed to. So I got to go. I didn't say it. But anyway, out I go. And we go back to the field. 7:30 is authorized for 3 EAs. The first one we called was Bastogne. I didn't know him. They called Childers. I must have been thinking about something else, so he had to call me the second time. And, anyway, then they announced the third. We had 3. Well, we couldn't go back to the same outfit we were in. Because we were different things. So the department only says, ship her back to the state. Ship her back to the state. I was assigned to the Savannah River Defense Area. And one morning, the colonel called me in and says, Sergeant Major, not Sergeant Major, I was EA at that time. He says, you're to be at the Pentagon on a certain day in your absolutely best. That means shape up. So they set the plane down, leave them up. I was thinking all along, they promoted 29 EA in the United States Army, the whole thing, the first time. So we got to the Pentagon. And I forget who the chief of staff was at that time, but anyway, we were lined up. He says, I guess you want to know why you're here. He says, I think I'm going to make you happy. I thought he was going to say you're promoted to EH, and this was in there. He says, the 29 of you that made EH are now united. That's how I got it. Well, that lasted for a while until they decided to change the situation between a sergeant major and a command sergeant. The difference is this. A sergeant major can be in supplies, music, or anything like that. A command sergeant major, I imagine this is the same. A command sergeant major is dedicated to his command. And while I'm on that, I'm going to tell you what happened to me when I went to do that thing. I went as sergeant major on the Big Red One. And I'm empty, completely empty. I got over there, I got off that plane, Lieutenant Colonel hollered my name, children. I said, get your bag and come with me. He said, there'll be a helicopter down here to pick you up, take you out from your unit. On the way down there, he says, by the way, you know your assignment has been changed? I said, no, sir. He says, you're going to the 82nd Airborne. I said, sir, you got something wrong here. I'm no jumper. Didn't look me word. Well, he said, get on the helicopter. So I did, I went out. I was upset. Because I liked the Big Red One, I'd been with it before. Well, I went in, had a brigadier general. He said, welcome to the 82nd Airborne. He says, you have any questions? I said, yes, sir, I have a lot of questions. I said, sir, I think somebody made a mistake. I am not a jumper. I'm a ground pounder. He said, well, I'm going to explain this to you, but it's got to be confidential between me and you. Understand that? I said, yes. So he went ahead and told me what happened. Regular Command Sergeant Major got killed. He stepped on the mine. Well, he didn't step on the mine. He was on the Jeep, and the car hit the mine. The Department of Army says move up the next senior Command Sergeant Major to take over. Well, at that time they had a Sergeant Major under investigation. And I'm not going to go into the investigation, but it wasn't good. So I was sitting in my little small tent of what I had my rear echelon. One day, two guys walked in, dressed nice, black suits. They wanted to see the general. I says, asked him who's calling. He pulls out FBI. Well, that, that don't take too long to figure out what's going on. So they went in, seen the general. Next thing I know, that Sergeant Major that was doing something wrong was coming out. They didn't want to bring him up, knowing that he was under investigation. But they had to have somebody that outranked him. And guess who got knucklehead? That's why I was selected, that I outranked him.
Okay, I've heard a lot of these stories. To sum up his stories, and I like to do some questions and answers here. The first thing is, you can take a bad situation and make it good. We can all learn from that. We wasn't all born in the perfect world. So JW took a bad situation and made it good. So the second thing he did, he went to all the schools he could go to. If you read his bio or hear him talk, he talks about going to all those schools. And what really shot him up is when he went to that Air Force school, right? But he took advantage of those schools. And the third thing that I'm going to take away from knowing him is he always done the right thing. Doing the right thing is not always the popular thing. And he did the right thing, whether it's with the captain, when he felt like reaching there and getting some of that captain, he knew that was the wrong thing to do, and he did the right thing. And through his training, he always, if you hear him talk, he always did the right thing. Whether it was in Omaha Beach, the Battle of Bulge, the Korean War, or the Vietnam War, he always did the right thing. So, you want to do some question and answers?
Yeah, definitely. A couple things the times that I thought JW that stood out is he knew soldiers. He knew how to train soldiers. It didn't matter where they put him or what assignment he got. He was a better soldier than other guys around him sometimes because he actually trained soldiers. He knew how to handle soldiers, and that's what probably got him to E8 because he knew drills. He knew his job. He knew how to block and tackle. He didn't try to think outside the box. He tried to think inside the Army's box and do what the Army wanted him to do. And that's one thing. And another thing that I know JW has said before, when he played baseball, is he stayed in shape. And that's one of the things that whenever he was in World War II, he had said that he was in good shape. And that's something we all need to take because when you're a leader like that and you're in an environment like that, you ain't got time to get in shape once you're there. You got to stay in shape.
So you probably could say JW was fit to fight before we knew what fit to fight meant.
Absolutely. And just one of the other things that he said when he was before the promotion board, and I want to tell you, I think JW is probably one of the most humble people I've ever met, and that's why we got Larry up here asking questions. But when he was before the promotion board, he had enough confidence to tell them when they asked him, why should you be in E8 above these other people? Because he knew he was the best. And that's something we can all learn. If you don't feel like you're the best, then you probably shouldn't be in there. But I'd encourage you to try to be the best. So when you do go before that board, you are the best. It doesn't matter who you go up against. You feel confident saying that. That's the things that I got.
Okay. So questions? Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
What advice, sir, would you have for like an officer, from your experience? What is one common attribute that the best officers had, and maybe what was an attribute that the worst officers had?
He wants to know what's some of the best things you could talk about an officer, some of their characteristics, and maybe some of the not so good things you've learned about officers.
What made them?
Talk about
Well, the generals already give you a get out of jail card, so.
But what made them a good officer?
What makes a good officer? He's asking, what makes a good officer? What do you think makes a good officer?
Tell me the answer. Well, I know what I think of the officer. I don't want to get tied up in that. I was telling the general who was in there, I had a chance to be an officer in the Battle of Bulge. 3 of our men from our brigade was called in. We were up for battle of officer. We stayed 3 days and 3 days to think it about. When I went before the colonel, that was the president of that time, he says, tell me, what is your thinking about accepting the commission? I said, well, sir, I don't think I can. I said, I have no college education. I know when this war is over, a lot of officers are going to be beat. And JW would be the first one. That would cut my time out. I said, for that reason I can't. He said, well, you said you had 3. What's the second? I said, well, I look at it like this. If I accept this, you can pull me out and send me to young post, wherever you want to. And I said, that means me leaving my men that I trained, and they're like my sons. He says, well, what is your third? I said, well, very simple. I am not officer material. And I'm not. So I don't think I ought to be judging officers.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a little judging here from being around him so much. I think one of the things he probably would tell the officers, like the captain. The captain knew he had too much else on his plate to get married. And he told him, he gave him the honest answer, the hard answer. So those hard answers are good things about officers. Okay? Next question. Anybody got a question? So now we got a guy here that's 95 years old, been in 3 wars.
Change it around just a little bit. Not what makes a good officer, but what makes a good leader.
There you go.
Well, I've been told what makes a good leader. Maybe not maybe, but I was told what a leader should be. Number 1, you win the mission. Number 1. Number 2, bring your men home. I don't know who started that, but I don't agree with that. I agree with the first one. Mission is first. But that second one, you're not going to go into combat and not lose men. Then, you're going to lose men. You're going to lose. Nobody is that good that you can bring everything back. I think they could have worded that a little different, and we'd all feel better about it. There's not a person who bias, even the general. Would he agree with that? No. He's been in combat. He knows. You live 1 minute at a time. And pray that the second minute will come up soon. That's what you're running to in combat. So nobody could qualify under those things. I don't think. I did not bring all my men back. I regret it, but it's the thing I can do.
Mr. Frank.
Okay? Right here.
And Mr. Jones, how do you keep your soldiers motivated when you're in Bastogne? I heard you tell Colonel Strawberry's in, that's the coldest you've ever been. If you're a first sergeant going around, soldiers squared away, waiting on Pat and trying to save them.
I thank you.
He said, how did you keep the soldiers motivated during the Battle of Bulge where it was so cold? When you was going around talking to everybody, what did you say? You didn't tell them it's going to be warm tomorrow, I know.
Well, it's hard in the way you look at it. You got frozen feet, as I was telling you, everybody got frozen feet. I don't care who you are. You can't dig a foxhole. And as I look around, I see some women. And I'll put you on the pedestal. But I don't want to see you in a foxhole. I don't. And so, that's the way I feel about it. I know what you have to go through. That 174 pounds that you're going to put on your back gets awful heavy. And you've got to carry it yourself. Digging a foxhole, I'd like to see you digging a foxhole in the Valley of the Bulge. You got some snow up to your belly. It's not easy. I don't think you can do it. God didn't make you like a man. He didn't make a man like a woman. So I may be wrong. Think it over, dear friends. There's so many things you can do that eliminate a man and let him get out there and do what he's supposed to do. Sorry, that's not.
Okay, we had a question over here.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
Sir, Sergeant Major, in your opinion, as a leader, and when you were Sergeant Major, can you be a good leader and a friend to a soldier as well? To have that type of relationship, or do you have to separate as a leader?
So her question is, can you be a strong Command Sergeant Major and also a friend of the soldier? Can you be both? Can you be the enforcer and the friend? As a leader, a strong leader.
Well, I never give that much thought. I just thought I was.
Okay.
You get attached, you know, when you have men like I have, for almost 3 years we trained before we went into war. I see them every day. I know what they can do. They know what I can do too. But I try to be both. Maybe I failed in some. I wasn't perfect. But, yeah, I think I gave it a good shot.
Okay.
By the way, thank that woman for standing up. I love you.
So we have any other questions before we wrap this up? Turn it over to you. Anybody else? So as we come in, it's been cool knowing JW I got to know JW in '75 when I got married, and it kind of took me under his wing. He used to call me a rookie, and he used to tell me that I needed to get out of the Guard and go into the regular Air Force. So that was always the two things he hounded me about. But I stuck with the Guard, and it turned out pretty good for me. So we're glad you're here. We're glad you asked some questions. And as I come to the end here, did I miss anything?
No, JW, we got a golf shirt. Don't know if you golf much. We got a golf shirt. I tell you, we love to have you walk around with one of our emblems on. And I tell you, you represent, I guess an example of what this organization.
Well, my golfing days are over.
Mine never started, so.
Well, I want to tell you something. This is a highlight of my career. Coming here and talking to people. It's a blessing. And I know my kids just had a big birthday party for them. I looked them in the eye and I said, "This is the biggest one you've ever given me. What do you think? I'm not going to be here next year?" I said, "I'm going to be here." God has been good with me. I wake up every morning thinking, another day. And I'm prepared. I want you to know I'm prepared if he calls.
Okay.
All right. You can see. On behalf of the enlisted corps, state of South Carolina, we would like to say thank you for what you've done for us. Thank you for how it led us down this path of where we've come today. The enlisted corps is the backbone of the Army. And to know somebody with your caliber, I'm just damn glad I didn't know you when you were in your prime.
You would love it,
I can only say that I better learn how to run a whole lot more than I do now. And do a whole bunch more push-ups. But we thank you for what you've done for us. Listen to the stories. I wish we'd all be able to recover everything that you went through and all the good times and the hard times.
let me know, are you going to retire soon? Because I'd like to have your position.
I tell you what, Sergeant Major, you can come up and hang out in my office and I'll just kind of ramble around. You get through straighten out everything I done messed up, we'll be in good shape.
I want to tell you something before I leave. We're a military family. My son-in-law graduated from West Point. He was an engineer. He taught engineering there for 6 years. His son is getting married this month. My wife was born on August the 29th. She gave birth to one of my daughters on August the 29th. My grandson is getting married. He's a major in what is he flying? What kind of plane he flies?
Navy.
Huh?
With the Navy.
Navy. Well, no, the Marines. He's in there. He's getting married the 29th of this month. You get the 29th. And so we're all going to be there to see him. I'm going to make that. I'm hoping the good Lord will give me the days to go. So,
I'm going to go ahead and, I know this probably doesn't touch anything what you've got to put up on the wall after just looking at what you got here and knowing I was there when they gave you the other plaque for the uniform. But I wanted to go ahead and, from all our enlisted from South Carolina, this is a certificate of appreciation to put on your wall. Certificate of appreciation to Sergeant Major J.W. Childers for 33 years of exemplary service in the United States Army. Sergeant Major Childers served in World War II, Korean War, and Vietnam. By the age of 23, Sergeant Major Childers was promoted to the rank of First Sergeant, making him the youngest to ever hold the rank of First Sergeant. His honorable service, courage, and most of all, his sacrifice for his country and fellow comrades is commemorable. Sergeant Major Childers' outstanding and uncommon dedication to duty demonstrates a personal commitment that reflects great credit upon himself, South Carolina, and all his other 29th Infantry Division, the 25th Infantry Division, the 82nd Airborne, and the United States Army.
I'll see you in York before you leave.
Yeah, my job.
God bless you.
Let me do say one thing. I wasn't going to say anything, but I do have to talk about the Sergeant Major just a second. When you think about some of the lessons that he's taught us today, it wasn't always the answers he gave, but the stories and things that make up those stories. And I encourage you to kind of listen to how he talked in a humble manner, how he took his troops. It was just a matter of fact. The great sacrifices that you made was just a matter of fact. And that's incredible. Don't expect anybody to come in and pat you on the back or anything. It's just you did what you had to do. Sergeant Major, that's just, you lived an incredible life. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I gave you one of these during the convention, but you deserve as many as you can carry for your great leadership. Thank you.
Everybody pull for Carolina.
They need it.
That's it, folks. I appreciate it.